So with summer just around the corner, I was looking at some film gear that I needed to buy for an upcoming project that I have. And it got me thinking about making a list for you guys on the first 10 things that I think every filmmaker should buy in 2024. Alright, so I think it's important to note that you don't go and buy all of these 10 things all at once. It's an investment that you make over time and you invest in your career. So let's take a look at our first item. So the first one's a little bit obvious. It's the camera. So if you're in the market for, a cinema camera like a red helium, or you're looking for a DSLR like the Sony a7S III, you are going to need to buy a camera. Obviously, if you're starting out, I don't recommend that you go buy a cinema camera right away. I think you should start with a DSLR. I really like the a7S III because I do enjoy taking photos with it. Right now, the Sony FX3 is a fantastic model. If you're in the market for maybe the cinema camera, the red or something like that, I don't necessarily recommend you buy it. I think it's a great thing to start just renting and go to your local rental house, make friends with them, kind of build a relationship. When you do have the bigger projects where you can justify renting a Red or an Alexa, you can just rent through them. And then if it gets to a point where you're renting it so much, then maybe look at investing it. And I'd say I don't know, 70% of the time when I'm taking on a project nowadays, I just go with the a7S III. Just because of that dual native ISO. Smaller teams, run and gun, that kind of stuff, especially for documentary work, this camera has been absolutely amazing. So I'd recommend either the FX3 or the a7S III. All right, let's head over here for gear number 2. All right, so the second thing on this list is obviously lenses. First lens I would recommend anyone to buy is the 24 to 70 millimeter zoom lens. And it's a great lens to have as part of your kit. This lens also goes to 2.8. If you don't already have a camera lens and you're looking at buying one, I would say start with the 24 to 70. It's a great one to start with. And then, look at potentially getting a 16 to 35 to go a little bit wider, and then a 70 to 200 if you want a more telephoto kind of zoom. If you already have zoom lenses and you're all set on that side, maybe you can look at getting more primes. So these are vintage FD lenses, Canon FDs. And what's fun with Sony is they have a variety of adapter mounts that can fit with the E mount. And what I really like about vintage glass is how it really takes that digital edge off of the sensor. There's some really nice vintage lens that are like $150 that you can get some really good quality glass. And then this last lens here, which is a Canon 24 to 105, is probably the best lens that I've ever owned. And mainly because it just holds my coffee, Let's move on to the third thing that I recommend. Oh, there you are. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is filters. So when it comes to filters, the first thing that you're going to want to buy is a neutral density filter, or an ND filter. Depending on the project, if you're more a one-person show, a very ND is a very nice tool to have. You want to be able to adjust your exposure with the ND filter. So that's going to help you get accurate exposures at a lower f-stop, so you can kind of get that blurry background. The next thing I recommend you to buy is more of an artistic kind of stylized filter, is a Pro Mist filter. Now there's different strengths that you can get for different aesthetics, but I think it's a really nice add-on or tool that you can use to kind of create a subtle, dreamy look. And if you look at the light in the background, when I add it, it really blooms those highlights. It just gives that nice roll off to the highlights that I really like. Now, if you already have that and you're looking for something a little bit more artistic, I have the thing for you. Now, this is my special filter box, all right? So I have all of these filters that I bought from Prism Lens Effects a few years ago, and they keep coming out with insane new models, and you can get some really cool kind of distorted effects. So if we zoom in a little bit, this works really nice when you have a zoomed in lens, but then you can create some really funky stuff. And I've used it a lot for music videos, for even feature films, and it's kind of a nice subtle artistic look to add. So filters is pretty much a must buy and something that you'll invest in over time. And so the next thing that I want to talk about is batteries and memory cards. Now, these aren't the funnest thing to buy. They're kind of annoying. because you know they cost a lot, but you need them. You need them to function. So with my Sony a7S III, I have 4 batteries from Sony, memory cards, you know, the Type A cards, which are these kind. All right. Another piece, another gear. I'm running out of space to film in this apartment. But basically the next one is audio gear. So this should be one of the first things that you end up buying. Field recorder like a Zoom H6n. For the Sony a7S III, I have this adapter that allows me 2 XLR input, and then I put the shotgun mic directly on here. You can also go with a Rode mic, a Rode shotgun mic, which is probably the one that if you don't have any audio gear and you just want audio for your camera, let's say you're vlogging or you're kind of filming, the Rode shotgun mic is a great first choice to go for. And then if you're mainly doing like talking heads or interviews, the Rode wireless mics, the new wireless Go Pros are pretty awesome. But even the last generations, the Go 2, work really, really well. So let's move on to the next item and let's see if we can find another spot to film. All right, so the next thing I recommend is a way to stabilize your camera. So this could be a tripod, you know, a Gorilla Pod. You can get different photo style tripods. Manfrotto does a nice one with like a fluid head, so if you want to do pans and tilts. Basically, you want to have something that you're able to keep the camera still. Start with a tripod because I think it's a great tool for you to start thinking about composition, and then start thinking of how do you want your actors to move, how do you want your subject to move within a stable shot. And especially if you're shooting YouTube videos or YouTube content and you're filming yourself, you're gonna need something to hold the camera. So getting a nice tripod, there's Peak Design that does some nice travel and lightweight tripods. You can also get K&F, which is a pretty cheap brand to start with. It's a really good tool, and it's kind of the first thing that you should look at buying once you've bought the camera and accessories and stuff like that. All right, so the next thing is a gimbal. Now, basically I have the RS3 Pro. The new version, the RS4, came out, and it's just a wonderful tool to make you start thinking about camera movements, how to move the camera, and it's just allowed me to really be more dynamic with my camera movements and get some pretty nice shots. Boom. So the next item on the list is the drone. So once you've bought your camera, you've bought your lenses, you've bought your tripod and all that good stuff, the next thing that you should look at buying is a drone. Now, this will give you some insane footage, some really, really unique perspectives that you wouldn't be able to get without a drone. It's a really fun tool, and the one that I recommend, I currently have the DJI Mini 3 Pro, and I love it. I think the quality of it is really, really nice for the kind of videos that I do. And because they're actually very small, they fit very nicely in your bag, and they're super useful to have, and it will just give you insane quality and really, really unique perspectives that you can add to your storytelling. All right, let's go on to the next item. All right, so the next thing would be a monitor. So this is the Atomos Ninja 5, and it has a bunch of tools inside of it that you have, like waveform, exposure, focus peaking, and you also have false colors. So I would highly recommend that you get a monitor that has the false color capability. With the A7S III and the FX3, I believe, they also have the app that you can download, and you can use your phone as a monitor through Bluetooth, and that also enables false colors. So you just want to use something that's a little bit bigger than the LCD screen that's on the camera, just so you're able to get a better idea of your composition, and trust me, it's going to change how you film. All right, let's move on to the next thing now. And the next one is lighting. So as far as gear, the thing that will really improve your videos is lighting. And if you're just starting out, honestly, rent it. Go to your local rental house, rent lighting, and kind of play with different lights until you find the light that you really think is worth investing in. There's a lot of great lights on the market, but I think for more introduction kind of lights, you can look at the apertures. There's the 120D, there's the 300D. You kind of want to have one punchy light, and ideally you'd want to get it with a light dome, because the light dome is a much larger source of light, which means larger is going to be much softer. And then if you're trying to compete with the sunlight, you would need at least a 600 or a 1200D, with diffusion dome, and a few other options that I would recommend, which I find super useful for documentary filmmaking. So basically there are these tubes by Amaran, and Aperture does a version as well, but the T2C have this battery and you can basically plug it in and you get a really nice light. Now there's a few different brands on the market. There's Astera, like the Titan tube, but if you're looking for something a little bit more budget friendly, honestly the Amaran T2C is a really nice light, and it's a really nice light to have like on documentary filmmaking when you don't have a lot of space. But I would really recommend that you get one big light where you're able to film and to kind of get a nice soft lighting source on your subjects. Boom, hello, all right, new haircut, new hairstyle, different outro, different day. It's fine, I ran out of time yesterday, so I have to finish it today. But basically that was my list of top 10 things that I think every filmmaker should buy in 2024. I think in the film world, it's a little bit difficult, and I'm gonna be someone that's gonna give you my honest opinion and how I've used certain gear in the field and what I think of it. If you're into filmmaking, content creation, and movies, you should really subscribe to this channel because I have a lot of great videos talking about color correcting, about filmmaking, about lighting, cinematography, so I'm sure you'll have a really good time. And I also have an Instagram channel, so really follow me on Instagram, follow me on all the socials, and if you have any questions, just feel free to write me and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. And if you like the music in this video or any of my other videos, I use Artlist for everything from sound design, from music. They also have stock footage, and it's a really affordable price for content creators and filmmakers in general. And if you're into that kind of stuff, you should really look at the description below because my link gives you an additional 2 months on any 1-year subscription. So it's pretty great. You're getting 2 months for free. All right, so I just want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. This was really fun to make, and I want to make this channel really interesting for you guys. You know, I want to talk about filmmaking, I want to talk about lighting, I want to bring you guys on set on projects that I've been on, and there's going to be much more lighting tutorials, much more in-depth cinematography stuff. We're going to get into the camera stuff. We're going to get into all these different lighting videos that are coming out soon. The journey so far has been absolutely insane, and I'm so happy. And it's just nice to see, I don't know, a community of filmmakers, and I want us to share it. You know, filmmaking is so hard, and it's important to build a good community with people. So feel free to, you know, share or ask questions about lighting, and I'll be happy to answer it in the comment section below. All right, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. You guys aren't gone yet? Why are you still here? Well, if you guys are still here, I could say that the next video could start with a nice little guitar introduction, but only if I get about, I don't know, let's say 100 comments saying guitar. So only the people who really stick to the end could maybe get a guitar intro in the next video. We'll see.